Hi, and welcome back to Parkitect. This episode, I feel, might actually be my favorite so far. Not because I've taken way over an hour and made it way too complicated to get this Woodie to be all finished and good, but because I feel like the coaster creator sort of proved itself over here. To be very honest, I was in the beginning still quite skeptical of the Parkitect coaster creator, especially since it's so very similar to Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I just don't have too fond of memories of that. But I do think that there are just it's improved over Roller Coaster Tycoon, all the games of Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I think there are two big factors in that. It's like the fact that everybody who's seen wooden roller coasters in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 probably knows about this. They've got airtime hills, but they're very unsmooth. You don't have the right transitions between the steep sections that go up in one way or down in one way, or even steep sections and straight sections. It all goes really quickly, and it just makes rides very unsmooth, but it also makes airtime just way too big, and it probably, the average Woodie in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is probably pretty lethal. And another thing is that I've always felt like transitioning to curves in wooden roller coasters in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 was just impossible to get it right. It was always a bit jagged and just not really working out too well. And those are like the two main things which I feel like this game so far, the coaster creator, is actually perfect for wooden roller coasters, since you have those amazing transitions from banked to non-banked curves, or from gentle to straight curves, which I think is really amazing. And so far, I do like this wooden roller coaster as well in general. Really, it's got a layout which you can't even get in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, to be very honest. But it's arguably also much more smooth than any wooden roller coaster you can ever make in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I mean, I can probably still, yeah, there's a lot actually that I still need to improve on when it comes to this coaster creator. But at least with little to no experience in it, I've managed to build this Woodie, which I think in the end I'm pretty proud of. Can I say that? I think I can. I kind of like it in the end. And yeah, I'm really happy about that. So I don't know what I'll be able to do with more practice, but so far I'm really happy about the editor and this coaster in general. When it comes to names though, I feel like I can have as much experience as I want in anything. I'm never going to be able to be good at coming up with names, so so far this coaster is called the Rolling Thunder. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If anybody has a good name, I guess you can always shout that, because I'm just really bad at it. I might just take it, I have no idea. And then again, names are not too important. But yeah, I'm just happy about it. I'm happy about the Rolling Thunder. It's pretty good so far. Except that ending part, that actually took very long to get right. One of like my there are a few things which I am a bit salty about in the editor, like the fact if you've got two tracks next to each other and one of them is banked, it doesn't work. Like, you can only have two tracks next to each other if they are straight or banked outwards from each other, but if they're both banked into the same direction, it just doesn't work. It turns red, which is a bit painful, since it means you can't really have curves that are very close to each other, so you can't get those beautiful like double helixes, and you can't also have like one curve coming up to a straight section and you know, going from banked to straight, because nope, you can't have anything banked when it tries to join another straight track piece, which is a bit annoying. But other than that, those are not really too big constraints, really. It sort of worked out in the end. So yeah, I'm quite happy about it, really. One thing which I'm probably not so happy about was the randomly quickly this is like a very stupid station, actually. And I just felt like putting down one big like log hotel. It's actually inspired, and this is gonna sound like the most stupid thing ever, but it's inspired by the like Alpine Lodge Hotel something in a game called Ski Resort Tycoon. Does anybody know that game? Probably. If you do know that game, then no, that's cool. I suppose there's nothing more to say about that. It's cool to know that game, I guess. But it's like a really old game which I used to play a lot as well, alongside Roller Coaster Tycoon. But yeah, I just kind of felt like, I'm building a Alpine park over here, so I might want to draw some inspiration from that. But in the end, it didn't really work out as well as planned. So sort of quickly wanted to move over to other things from that sort of awkward station. I think it's not too bad, but it's really not the entire thing that I was envisioning in my mind, to be quite honest. The only other things that I really tried for this ride, though, is to just get a simple lake and some mountains around it. A wooden coaster shouldn't really have, well, normally doesn't really have too much scenery going on, so this is just going to be one big standard wooden roller coaster. Actually, it's sort of inspired by the werewolf in Walibi, Belgium, which I think officially has a French name, which I'm not even trying to pronounce over here. And sort of in the same style of the Vekoma Woodies that do exist, it just does curves, and that's pretty much it. No scenery or anything else. Hopefully it's a bit more smooth than the average Vekoma wooden roller coaster, but that's up for the game to decide, I guess. It runs pretty well, so I'm happy about that. It's got some good pacing as well. Extra credit over here, by the way, goes out to Motanum. He's just called Motanum on the forums, I believe. Who actually made these diagonal wooden supports. And by the time that I am commentating this, he's also made a dinosaur custom scenery pack, which actually has some really amazing foliage in it as well. But sadly, this was recorded quite a while ago, so I can't quite use that, but that's something to see in the future, I guess. And yeah, especially with these diagonal supports, it actually works quite well with the supports in-game. That's one thing which I've always hated Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 for, which so far in this game actually got right, is the fact that it has 2D wooden supports. It is so damn awkward to have a 3D game but have those 2D wooden supports. Like, even if it causes more lag, I'd much rather just see these 3D supports for wooden roller coaster types. Really the only thing that I have an issue with when it comes to supporting in this game, I don't know if you noticed, but if you go below 4 meters in height, so that would be like 1 tile above the ground, it just stops supporting. So you get floating tracks if you're somewhat close to the ground, which is very painful, but I'm quite sure that's something to be fixed later on. So I'm not really too worried about that at the moment, but yeah, that's why there are actually some floating parts of this roller coaster here and there, and which is a bit painful, but I really can't do too much about it other than wait. And the developers at the moment are still just working on core features rather than small bugs and side things, so it's probably something that we'll see in the distant future. And this was a bit of, I think, still terraforming. No, this actually worked out a lot better, I think. Oh no, it didn't. I think I still, yeah. This was the exact moment where I was still trying to use the hill tool to make a lake, and that was the most annoying thing ever. And I should have used the flattening tool, which is so much easier for terraforming, and it's really an eye-opener. Though I do have to say that hill tool is still a bit painful. Being able to use the flatten tool is make things a lot easier. And here's some simple foliage, I guess. God damn it. I just like randomly commentating over what's happening. Isn't that the premise of this series? Anyway, it's pretty much it. There's not even too much interesting stuff happening over here, to be very honest. I'm just kind of placing foliage. That's simple stuff. Though, yeah, that's actually one of my other complaints. I don't want to turn this into a complaint series, which is something that I'll get to in a minute. But it's the fact that you can replace objects by placing other objects is cool for pretty much anything outside of a forest, since if you want to get a dense forest, if you go into Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, you just hover all over the park and spam mouse clicks like it's no big deal, but in this game you would actually replace every single tree you already built by placing more trees, which is kind of counterproductive. So it's quite hard to actually make a dense forest. You're really gonna have to find the open spots that you wanna make more dense and fit your trees in exactly. And as soon as you miss one by 1 inch, you remove another tree by placing one, which is just annoying and kind of turns into that puzzle game of seeing where you can actually get your trees in. It's in general not too big of an issue, and it looks good in the end, but it just makes things a little bit more time consuming that I probably would have liked. But that being said, I feel like one of the things which I like so far about Parkitect, This is gonna sound really stupid, by the way, so brace yourselves for that shit, is something actually that was sort of well worded by Game Grumps at some point, which is the fact that Parkitect feels like it has a heart to it, and you feel like there's been passion put into the game, and it's not just a rip-off of anything, it's actually got a soul of its own, and that's what I like about it. And it actually does do some new things from Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and, well, the Roller Coaster games in general, and that's kind of what I like about it. It's really hard to pinpoint it, and I might be very biased about this, but just the very fact that it's made by such small developers who really put their heart into it, and also share so much of what they're making into the game, is something that I personally I just love it, pretty much. That's all I really should say about that. It's actually been a lot of fun to just follow the game already. Not even having it, the game was already very fun to look at, so that was really fun. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get out about that. So that being said, it's a game that I think is fun, but it's not a game which I think I can be creative in the same way as Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is why it won't replace that game, and which is why I think these games fit very well alongside each other, but none of them really replace each other, so I'm probably not gonna drop either of them, just keep both of them going, because they both sort of fit into different interests that I have, which is cool, which I do like, and yeah, that's pretty much about that. Here's a little alpine house actually that was still a bit awkward. That's one of the things though, the building sets are just too limited at the moment. You can probably find me repeating more and more things that I've already used in different buildings as I go on in this park, and I'm almost starting to pretty much have a lack of things that I can do that are really truly unique to a certain building, and instead buildings just become copycats of other buildings that I've already built, which is a bit painful, but not much that I can do about that really with the current sets. In any case, I see that I'm running out of time again. Next episode, I'm gonna spam grass everywhere, so that's gonna be interesting, and start work on new things, which I completely forgot what it was, so see you then.